How do you live a healthy, well-balanced, and habit-based lifestyle, especially as an entrepreneur too? That's exactly why we sat down with Joy Bauer, who's actually a health and wellness expert, and she's actually on NBC's Today Show. And we talk about all those different things. Also, what does it take to be an entrepreneur? All the experience she has, all the reps and sets, all the secret tips on there, so that you can have longevity, be healthy, have good habits, and be well inside the game of entrepreneurship. Here we go.
All right, Joy Bauer in the house. How you doing? I love the background, love the kitchen. So how you doing today?
I'm doing great. It's starting to kind of warm up in the New York area. I mean, we actually had a week of summer. I think it was the week before last. It was about 80 degrees, but today it's beautiful. It's sunny. It's about 60-ish. I'm talking to you guys. Life is good.
Yeah, so I'm jealous because it's pouring down rain over here in Dallas, and I can hear the thunder. So total opposite. But we were talking a little bit about how much you love Texas. When you come out here and visit. So come check out the North Dallas area next time you're here.
We love Texas, so be careful with that invite. We might just show up next week.
Sounds good. Well, thank you so much for coming on our show, Joy. I really appreciate it. I really value time, and I know this is going to be a great discussion. So I want to just kick this off. We'd like to ask a question, and you're in New York. So in New York, there's a lot of billboards, a lot going on. So if let's say the mayor of New York said, "Hey, Joy, I want to grant you 5 different billboards around New York," what would that one billboard say and why?
Ooh, that is a question I have never been asked. I would say off the top of my head, the billboard would say, "Life is hard, food should be easy." Because I really do believe that just by making such small little tweaks to our menu, we could have a huge impact on pretty much all aspects of our life. Right. That's my billboard.
I love it. Short, sweet, and simple, but I agree. It's I think nutrition and food is such a huge component to just everyday life. And I think people just, they don't really see it or put it at the forefront of things.
Yeah. And maybe I would be holding a big, voluminous, colorful salad in one hand, and in the other hand, some sort of ooey gooey pizza with extra cheese and a broccoli popping up from here and there.
Okay.
But showing people that all things can fit in, it's not that kind of a thing.
Yeah. Food doesn't have to be boring. And speaking of food, your new book, Superfoods, where can the listeners go and check that out?
Everywhere, really. I guess on Amazon, Barnes and Noble, all of the places that you would find other books for sure. Certainly on my website, joybauer.com. On my social channels. Yeah, it's just filled with all of the foods that we like to eat, except for the fact that I snuck in superfood ingredients. So, we'll be eating fries and pizza and desserts and mocktails and cocktails and all stuff like that. But at the same time, you could feel really good about the ingredients. And that's, sort of my mission, right? To show people that you don't have to give up buffalo wings or mac and cheese or salted caramel milkshakes. All of these things are very doable if you just know how to make them in a healthified way. Yeah. No sacrifice here.
No, I agree. And I think that's where I want to start things too, because I'm really interested to know what got you into the nutrition world. What got you, where was that passion and drive to just, change all these different misconceptions about food and just really wanting to help people and get that out there in cooking?
Well, so you guys will appreciate this. My first sort of entree into the health world was through fitness. I was born just like one of these athlete wannabes. And I was one of 4 kids. I was the oldest, and my dad is a sports nut, both spectator and participant. And so from the get-go, he had me in every single sport under the sun, even playing football and basketball and baseball. At the time it was girls softball, and he coached everything. But I found my groove as a gymnast. I'm pretty small. I think most people know that. When it's interesting because shooting remote from home during COVID, there was no reference of a tall host like Savannah, or Hoda. And so I kind of looked nice and tall all by myself on my kitchen island. Now I'm back in the studio, so my height is revealed again, but I'm about 5 feet tall. And by sixth grade, I was a competitive gymnast. So I absolutely loved sports, and always looking to optimize my performance. I got very interested and intrigued with the science of food. And that's when my food education really started. I would make great big messes in my mom's kitchen, and I mean messes. Like, I'm not, falsely being self-deprecating here. I didn't know what the heck I was doing. A recipe would call for a cup of flour, and I would open up the cupboard and I would look at a cup, whatever cup was in there, and I would take it out, and that was my measurement. So like a lot of stuff went south in the beginning, but I got much more into it and into sports nutrition as I started getting into high school and researching, and really discovering like different combinations would make me feel good. Then I went to college for pre-med. I wanted to become a pediatrician. Mm-hmm. Huge science nerd. I was kinesiology and biochem undergrad. But when I graduated, before I went to medical school, I took a sabbatical. And my sabbatical was getting a graduate degree in clinical nutrition. And then it was just, all cylinders firing. I loved the field so much. And I took my exercise background. Guys, I was also a personal trainer. I had all of the certifications. And with my kinesiology background, I basically through graduate school, I made my money teaching aerobics and step classes and strength training and doing one-on-one coaching with people. So I love the fitness angle. And really, anyone into the fitness automatically is into the healthy food aspects of the nutrition aspect, and anybody into nutrition embraces the fitness aspect as well. So I just think it's the perfect marriage, but that's how I got into it. I always love playing with food. I love eating food, as does most people in the world, and had a passion for health. And when you put all those things together, I really landed in my right space.
Love it.
Yeah, I think it's really cool too, Joy, like that you have all this experience, right? Like you said, you're a personal trainer, like you went through school, you went on the sabbatical through clinical nutrition, and you've had so much experience, right? And so many walks through life. So, who we work with is personal trainers and nutritionists. So what would you say to them, kind of knowing what you know now, just with all the wisdom, all the experiences, all the ups and downs, if they're aspiring to just really get themselves out there like you are?
So the first thing I would say is welcome to the best field ever. And thank you for being here, because we need smart, passionate, hardworking folks. And that's all of your listeners. So again, so much love to all of you for choosing this field. Excuse me, let me take a sip of this water. The other thing that I would say is really important, and boy, did I learn this throughout my years. There's no one way to get to the finish line. So I think that as health coaches, we need to listen more than we talk and more than we advise, because no one person is going to be the same as your previous client and the client that follows. So we just really have to be forgiving and flexible and creative. And that's what's going to make us an impactful communicator and health coach. So that's probably my most important and relevant piece of advice that I can give everybody that's listening. And sometimes the advice that you're going to give is going to feel kooky. And that's okay, because kooky might really help somebody push forward and gain health. So you just be as creative as possible. And there's no wrong turn.
Yeah. And I couldn't agree more with what you said. There's no right way to get to the finish line, and I'm sure you've experienced that as well too. But why do you think these health and fitness coaches or anybody that goes into any careers have this misconception where it's a linear road to get to the finish line, and they have to follow this cookie cutter step-by-step way to get there?
I think that that's a normal feeling at the beginning when you're sort of gaining your sea legs. And I get it, right? You don't have the experience to have the confidence to be flexible. And so you take your time and you will find your own groove. And by the way, that's what's going to make you popular and help you to excel, finding your groove. And it's not a race. So everybody could do it at their own speed. And if you have to start by following a cookie cutter path, that's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got a frog in my throat. I'm so sorry, guys. Hang on a minute. I'm going to give a little cough.
No worries. That's why I'm over here sipping my diet Dr. Pepper. I mean, I'm not plugging or anything, but
Oh God, I got to turn you on to LaCroix.
oh, I like LaCroix. I actually like Waterloo.
Waterloo,
LaCroix. You're drinking aspartame over there.
I know, in moderation.
I know.
That's funny. So I want to talk about like the transition part too, because in careers and things, you know, we do have to pivot sometimes or transition or another opportunity opens up. So you had the opportunity to go from, you know, teaching to media. Which is huge. You know, right now, you know, you've won multiple awards, you know, for a National Media Excellence Award, a Taste Award, which is like the Oscars of food and media. So talk about the transition from, you know, teaching to going into media.
It was actually very organic and authentic. Like I never aspired to be on television. Like even now I think, oh my goodness, how did this happen? So when I graduated, the whole entire first part of my career was in academics and clinical. I taught anatomy and physiology and sports nutrition at NYU. I was the director of nutrition and fitness for pediatric cardiology out of Mount Sinai Medical Center. And by the way, I loved every single job I ever had. And that's important for everybody to know. Like you don't have to be making a lot of money to feel so happy and rewarded within your job. And honestly, like that's the ultimate payoff, right? Like we're in a field that we get to help people.
Right.
How cool is that? There's nothing more rewarding than being able to help others live a happier and healthier and more fulfilling life. So we already have that. And when you have that and you gain your sea legs and you're really good at what you do, the monetary piece will come. It's not going to come overnight. So everybody needs to have patience and really just take the time to smell the roses and to know that you're doing something that is so incredibly meaningful. So here I was, you know, at the medical center, Mount Sinai Medical Center, and I did a lot of volunteer work. So I started these programs in Harlem and East Harlem that were at high risk for obesity and type 2 diabetes and heart disease. And I went into the communities and I taught kindergarten through 12th grade health classes. This is still while I was with pediatric cardiology. So these were like extracurricular things. Nobody should ever coast. Always feel stimulated, always feel like you're going that extra mile. So I did these programs in these areas that really we needed to break the chain to help them elevate their health. And I found that the kids were like sponges, right? They were so intrigued and they loved all of it. And they were going home and they were telling their parents about it. So that's what we were doing. We were breaking the chain. And I was feeling so good. And I loved all my extracurricular jobs. I was also doing a lot of writing. I was writing for newsletters for free. Mm-hmm. I was a lot of like non-paid speaking engagements in the communities. I was joining committees like the American Heart Association and the American Cancer Society, and just like organically networking. I wasn't doing it deliberately, but because it was something that I enjoyed doing, I was meeting a lot of people. I was meeting doctors. I was meeting trainers. I was meeting organizations, people who were doing fundraising. And then because I was doing writing, I had this idea that I wanted to write a book. And I went to an agent, and of course, like nobody wanted to listen to me because I wasn't published. But I went and I got a meeting, and I called a friend who knew a friend who knew a friend, and you know my heart was racing a million miles a minute. Like I didn't have any mojo or whatnot. I mean, I had a lot of smarts in the nutrition world and the fitness world, but not in the trying to make it in the media world. Mm-hmm. And what happened was I had this idea, and I had a really impressive resume from an education standpoint and from internships and academics, but like nothing from the publishing world. But, I had this idea for a book, and he showed the agent at the time showed me how to write a book proposal. And so I Googled how to write a book proposal. I had no idea how to write a book proposal. It took me 6 months just to write the book proposal. I went back to him. He then sent the book proposal out and a sample chapter that I had written because I couldn't write.
Mm-hmm.
He said it wasn't a cookbook. It was how to eat your way through college and survive. And so each chapter was how to not gain the freshman 15, how to eat for sports nutrition for a college athlete, how to pick the right foods in the cafeteria, how to eat off campus on a budget. Like that's what kind of a book it was. And he sent it out to all of the agents and all of the publishing houses. And every single publishing house came back and said, no, 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 like consistently. And they all had reasons why. And it was interesting because at the time, I was ahead of my time because college kids didn't really care about nutrition. Now they do. But way back in the day, they didn't. And then, like 2 months later, one of the publishing houses, Simon & Schuster, came back to my agent and said, we don't want her for that book, but we're writing a series. It was called the Dummies series and the Idiot Guide series. We're writing the series, and we would love her to be an idiot writer for nutrition. And so, do you remember the Complete Idiot's Guide to Total
Nutrition?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that was my first gig. That I was an idiot writer. So in a roundabout way, like I guess what I'm also saying is that the big learning curve here is, when you do a whole lot of work for one thing and it doesn't work out, it could open the door for something else, because that opened the door for me. I became an idiot writer. The book did really well. And then it landed on the desks of a lot of producers. And so my first gig was with ABC. The View called me and asked me to come in. The segment, I almost puked on my food display. I was a nervous wreck. My heart was almost like busted through my chest. It was like awful. But I guess it rated, because then they called me back over and over and over again. Then they gave me a regular gig on the show. I had to get an entertainment attorney and like an agent. It was so funny. I mean, my husband and I would be laughing like, what? An entertainment attorney? Like, I'm a clinician. What is happening here? And then from that, I got a gig on, at the time it was Regis and Kelly.
Yes.
Then the Today Show was tracking me, and it just like snowballed out of control. And now I am with the Today Show 16 years, if you can believe.
Yeah.
And then I have my own show on NBC. So again, like I never aspired to be on TV, but we all know as healthcare providers, right? Health coaches, to be able to have a media platform. And for everybody listening that's just starting out, after you get your groove and you have your mojo and you get your sea legs and like you feel totally comfortable in your skin from your coaching perspective, that media spot enables you to reach millions and millions of people in just a few minutes. I mean, wow, like pinch me moment. Yeah. And everybody will get there if you decide to, because a lot of people just want to have that small group of clients and feel really good about that relationship, because there's nothing more intimate than your private coaching relationship. Yeah. I was in private practice for so many years. I still miss that. And I still do a little of that on the side, because that's also what, keeps us grounded, but keeps us in the know in terms of like, what do people really want to know? Those are your real people. So they keep you relevant, and social media helps to keep us relevant too. Yeah. But I love all of it. I love every single bit of it. No. I love the profits. I love the teaching. I love the media. I love the TV. I like making a mess in my kitchen.
Yeah. And I could just tell, like, just your energy. I can hear the passion. Like, we see it through just like your videos, everything. Right. So thank you for sharing that story, number one. And there's several teaching points for the audience to really understand on this. And the big one that really spoke to me was just like, I always tell people opportunities are not created. Opportunities are created, they're not given. So you created, an opportunity by wanting to write a book to help people. You want to put that good energy and that information out to really help and serve people. So you created that opportunity. And then what happened was you created alignments. Those right alignments, opened up doors and had other people they could, reference you to. And that just like literally spun everything into media and all these different like opportunities, which is amazing.
Correct. Thank you for that. And one of the things, as you were saying that, what I remember when I was in private practice, so this will be important to your listeners. I built the largest nutrition practice in the country. And basically what it was, I first started myself after the hospital. I started getting a lot of referrals. So I made that leap and I rented an office, and it was just me in the beginning, and I would have these doctor referrals. Then what would happen is there was like way too many for me, right? So I started hiring on registered dietitians who were experts in various areas. So we saw everything from, obviously people wanting to lose weight and gain health, but also we saw, post cardio bypass operations, liver transplants, anaphylactic food allergies, people that had endocrinology issues like diabetes and PCOS and insulin resistance, a lot of eating disorders. But as we grew, and I had 20 plus different nutritionists that were working for me in different subspecialties, we were then asked for all different referrals. And a lot of these people worked with fitness trainers and so, and life coaches. And so what was really important for us is to have those referrals. So what I would be telling everybody that is listening is to make a list of people that you want referring to you. Is it internists? Is it nutritionists? Is it chefs that do home delivery sort of things? And then what you can do is even things like pediatricians, because a lot of you will be coaching with kids or with families. And then what you should do is look in your area as to all of the different subspecialties and the individual practices, and then send them letters and show up with, with lunch or give them a workout.
It's good.
And like all of these different fun experiences, because they will smile from the interaction with you, and you better believe that they're going to start referring to you. And it becomes like, do you guys remember the Fabergé commercial, or are you too young for that? It was like, they tell two friends and they tell two friends and so on and so on. And all of a sudden your network of referrals is exploding.
Yeah. That's so good too, because that's what we're big on too. Joy is like, again, stop. Like when we,
all right, just give me 1 second. We'll get back to the training. Okay. Now look, if you are looking to enhance your content, if you're looking to really build what we call a content machine, okay, we have this awesome worksheet for you. So just check out the link below and you guys can download this awesome worksheet where there's like 3 or 4 different type of like exercises in there. You guys can really roll out some brand new content for your guys' online audience, your guys' brand, your offer. Okay. Now back to the training.
You teach our coaches, like we're saying, stop banking so much on social media, like dominate a 3 to 5 mile, 10 mile radius. There's so much businesses that you can collaborate with and go the extra mile and just get clients there and, have those business collaborations where, hey, you scratch my back, I scratch your back.
That's exactly right. And don't downplay the office managers.
Yeah.
It's not just the doctors. And also look at the nurse practitioners. Like these are huge referral sources.
Exactly. And I have to ask a quick question. So this is so like, because I always wonder, like those that are just like in big media, when you're on TV, like the Today Show, like, the Regis and Kelly show, do people notice you just when you're just out in public and they're like, oh, hey, there's Joy Bauer, and how does that, and how do you deal with that?
It's so fun. So fun. And like people always remind me how much I love my job. I love my job so much, and I never take it for granted. And, we are in a position that every day we get rewarded by people come over to me and say, thanks to you, my husband is off of his statin medication, or thanks to you, like my teenagers will finally eat broccoli because we found a way to prepare it. Or like one of the best things is somebody saying to me, I could finally open up my closet and wear whatever I want because I feel so comfortable in my skin, and I no longer have fat days and thin days and want to beat myself up. I've learned to live in the middle.
Yeah. That's amazing.
Not have an all or nothing mentality. So it's so fun. Well, something funny that generally does tend to happen though is, people will say to me like, hey, like, where do I know you from? I think we went to college together. Or, I think we go to the same tennis club. And I know where they know me from, but they can't quite pinpoint it. which is always fun.
No, that's funny. And I'll tell you a quick story. We're twins, identical twins. And we'll go to the grocery store sometimes together and they'll ask us, oh, are you guys twins? And we'll just be like, no, we're cousins or we're just roommates. And some people will be gullible and they'll kind of eat it up, but we just have fun with it,
Totally. Oh, could I tell you one of my funniest stories? So I was at my dad had some minor surgery and I was at the hospital and he's totally fine. But I was in the, they have the novelty shop downstairs. I was buying gum or something in a magazine for him. And it was pretty crowded down there. And so this woman is at one of the registers and I'm at the other register and we're sort of facing each other. And she's starting to gaga. And she's like, oh my God, I love you so much. You have no idea. I watch you all the time on TV and your recipes and you're so amazing. And I was gushing. And I had such a warm feeling in my heart. And my husband was with me and he's look, you go girl. That's so nice. And all of these people are lining up and they're all looking. And then her husband must have been getting something. So he comes up to join her and she says, honey, look, it's Gianna. So it was the wrong person that she thought that it was. So Gianna happens to be on Food Network and she is an Italian chef, but about my height.
Okay. Oh, that's funny.
Okay, that was hilarious.
Yeah.
We have a lot of funny stories like that. It was the time that I fell flat on my butt on national television. On the Today Show twice, and one of the times I took down Al Roker with me. Yes, that happened.
Is there anywhere we can look that up on YouTube or anything like that? Or
yeah, probably.
I'm just messing around.
We'll link that in the show notes. Just kidding.
But Joy, I wanted to ask too, it's this was 16 years ago when you kind of got this big break, right? And obviously things are really different these days with social media and all that stuff. But, what's kind of some advice or steps you would take these days, kind of knowing what to be able to break into media, if you were a nutritionist, if you're a health and fitness professional and you want to kind of go that route?
So I think the first thing, it's hard to make the leap to national. And so there's so many local entities, and that's a great way to sort of develop a portfolio and get comfortable on TV or on radio, and also to be able to have a reel that you could then pitch to bigger entities like national or international TV. So I think one of the first things that people can do is look at your local CBS, NBC, ABC. And also I think in Westchester, New York, we have something called Westchester 12. So I think that there are also even smaller things than the major local networks that you can look at, because it's very important to be able to show somebody something. And if even those small entities need something, make your own little reels to then post on social media so you can send them links. Because it's hard for people to take a risk, and they don't have to take a risk anymore because people with social media are so good at doing little selfie videos and reels and posting and things like that. And then also make a list of relevant pitch ideas that you want to be able to send out. So it's not enough to be able to have a video of yourself. You need to have content, robust content. And don't try to tackle too much for one spot. Pick 5 different topics, really juicy, cool, exciting, engaging. We sort of want to morph entertainment with information. We call it infotainment, right? Mm-hmm. So come up with whatever that would be. And then you have your little video and you have your topics, and don't make the topic more than a quick little paragraph. Let's get them interested. Yeah. And then after that, you can develop it with them. And send it out around to all of your local entities. And what you could also do is you could keep it relevant. For example, in Westchester, New York, if there could be a cherry festival, or during October, there's something probably really cool around Halloween. And so you could be pitching them things that are very timely and topical. Yeah. So they want it and they grab it. And then once they love you, and they're going to invite you back over and over again. And who knows, maybe you end up getting a regular gig.
Yeah. Well, that's great advice. That really, really is. So I want to switch gears here, Joey, and really quick before I do that, can we plug your book again? Where can the listeners and the viewers find your book?
Oh, you guys are so nice. So the book is called, I have my book right over here. You know why I have my book here? Because I lean my laptop on it. So this is my last cookbook. I have a number of books, but this is my last one. It's called Joy Bauer's Superfood. And, it's like all sorts of recipes from breakfast to salads to sides to mocktails, cocktails, desserts, sweets, French fries, superfood pizzas. You could tell I love pizza. I come back to pizza a few times. But like all the foods we love, but made in a way that you could feel really good about eating it any day of the week. And feeding it to your families as well, and recommending them to clients, of course. You could get it on Amazon, really like any place where you buy books online. The other thing that I want to tell people about is I have a free newsletter that goes out twice a week, right to your inbox. And if people go to my website, which is joybauer.com, JOYBAUER.com, you put your email in and you're automatically signed up. So that's like a great way just to get recipes also for clients, because it enables you to then forward the recipes to whoever you want. We love free information, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
And I used to do, aside from recipes, I do all sorts of kitchen hacks and health tips and, things that I think could help make everybody sort of a smarter and more efficient health coach. And social media. I try to be as active as possible on social. So my Instagram is @JoyBauer. My Facebook, ironically enough, is @JoyLBauer. Because somebody took Joy Bauer and they wanted me to pay for it. I'm like, are you kidding me? That is just crazy. You hear about that happening all the time. So I had to put my middle name in there.
Yeah.
Twitter and TikTok and all those places,
Awesome.
just, trying to be as creative as possible. But I really appreciate social media because, again, we talk about staying relevant. I just know things in real time. I know what people are interested in. I know which recipes are most popular. I know which topics are more confusing for people, what are controversial. So, I think social media has helped to make us smarter and probably more impactful communicators as well. Do you guys agree?
Yeah, I agree. There's like a lot of pros, to social media, and there's a lot of cons. I just think it's all the way, all just how you use it. And really what I teach, what I say to my students is, be the content producer, not the consumer. So don't spend hours and hours consuming content if it's having negative effects on you, and causing like certain things in your life, then, take a break from it. But also too, like I always say, this is business media. It's not, social media. Treat it as a business platform to help and serve people, show your God-given talents. And again, yes, you do want to monetize it because, you have a way to solve problems.
Yeah, no, perfectly put. That's for sure. And like from a business standpoint and using social for business, what I will tell people is we do on my end, and I say we is because, I have an amazing Cracker Jack staff who I am successful because I surround myself with really smart people, passionate, smart people. And so on social, if anybody ever makes any of my recipes, if you post it on your end and tag me on stories, we share those all the time. And that's like great practice for everybody, because then all of my followers, hundreds of thousands of followers will end up seeing all of you. So, being strategic with who you tag and, how you repurpose material is fantastic.
Exactly.
Yeah, absolutely.
Exactly.
And so I want to ask a couple of questions just on entrepreneurship, Joy. So, like these days, right, again, with Instagram, with social media, and also just kind of like, the comfort, the convenience, and really kind of like the instant gratification mindset a lot of people have, right? What does it really truly take to be a successful entrepreneur these days?
Exhaustion.
Yeah, right. That's the real truth.
Yeah, I think like always looking ahead, right? Never feeling stagnant, never allowing yourself to get stale. And I think that the true entrepreneurs, and I would put all of us within this bucket, we do that organically, right? Like we don't want to be bored. So we're always looking for the next thing. And not really from a strategic business standpoint. I think it just sort of like works out like that. It's because it's in our DNA.
Mhm.
So, like mapping out what are your goals. And when you meet your goals, always looking ahead and formulating new goals. And again, not just because it's going to bring in more finance, it just ends up working that way, but because it's exciting and it's part of the journey. And circling back to something else that we had talked about earlier, in the beginning of my career, I came out with a lot of what I thought were winning ideas, and I would like
Mm.
throw these noodles up in the air. And some of them would stick, but a lot of them would come flopping right back down to the ground. I used to
Yep.
always joke, like, I had enough noodles to feed Cuba. But what interestingly enough happens is that first, there's a lot of learnings from the failures. Like my
Yep.
dad always says, every failure is the beginning of a new success, right? You use it as learning curves. You come back stronger and smarter and more strategic and more efficient. But also, a lot of the noodles that had fallen down to the floor, I was able to repurpose as I gained success in other areas. I reignited those noodles, and they ended up working with a little bit of tweaking to the right and to the left. So never feel like some of the trophies, your golden gems that you shelved, will stay on the shelf forever, because a lot of times they come back with a vengeance, which is really exciting. So content that we have spent time and energy creating is never wasted.
Exactly.
Ever.
Yeah. Great point on that. I love that. And great tip for the audience too. So I want to talk about the word advance. This is the word at our church of the year. And this is the word that our pastor said in 2023 that he wants us to focus on, just to advance spiritually, mentally, physically, emotionally, just with our thinking, everything. So what do you feel that you need to advance in what area in your life?
Probably the Zen department. I'm not innately Zen. I just, I'm like firing on all cylinders at all time. I have learned how to be present and how to enjoy where I'm at, and to not let my professional life seep in and dampen my personal life. When I'm with my kids, I'm with my kids. And that is something that I work at still every single day. But I don't do calm well. And so I think that, if I could advance in one department, it would probably be, maybe shutting down my brain a little bit and allowing myself to relax a little bit more, watching something that I really enjoy on a streaming channel and not constantly having to also check my DMs and my email, like shutting down, being a little better at shutting down.
Yeah, I love that. No, and thank you for sharing that. I think we all need to work on that. Myself, Chris, like we struggle with that too. It's an ongoing thing. It's an ongoing thing, and it's very real. So yeah, thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, but
can I ask you guys what yours would be?
Yeah. Well, for me, it was just, again, like ever since coming to Dallas, just quick backstory on us. Like I lost my father when I was 17 years old, 3 days before Christmas in a car accident. So we've been down a really dark like path, like I would say the age 17 till about 25. And it's because we were very upset with God. We lost our spirituality. And for me, coming over here to Dallas, from California, I've renewed my faith. I've gotten very plugged into the church. It's been a blessing. It's a long story, but it's been amazing. And that's just what I want to advance in, is my spiritual maturity. Like, again, continuously putting God first, living by his principles. And again, just walking by faith, not by fear. So that's something I want to, advance in this year.
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
Thank you.
I would say for me, Joy, I mean, I relate with you because it's hard for me to shut things down, right? My mind's constantly going. It's always in creative mode. It's always like, how can I serve? How can I impact like the world, And for me, it's just being more present with my wife, when I need to shut it down and be present. And then, we're about 2.5 months away for having our first son, and my biggest fear is just not being present. I don't want to be slowed down. I'm just one of those type of guys where it's just like, I don't want anybody in my way, so that's the biggest kind of fear I have. And I feel like I need to advance in those areas to work on that.
And it's going to happen because you're going to learn how to compartmentalize.
Yeah.
And I didn't learn that until I started having kids. And I also think that a big reason why we are successful is because we have the fire in our belly, and we're never, I don't want to say we're never satisfied with the status quo. That's not it, because I think I could feel from you all, just like me, we appreciate every single day. We appreciate all of the success that we've had. We never take it for granted.
Yes.
But we also love the climb, and we love the journey. And so because we need that adrenaline rush, we're always looking for that next thing.
Yes.
And so we'll continue to do that. But it's really the most beautiful thing ever when you do start to have kids or even pets. Like we're huge dog people.
Yeah, same here.
They change your way of thinking, and you will learn to be a brilliant compartmentalizer. You really will. So do not sweat about that whatsoever. Yeah. You'll see. You're going to come back to me and say, ooh, I remember that conversation. Yeah.
I appreciate that. I got to give you a virtual fist pump for that.
Boom, boom, boom.
So Joy, you talked about just stirring up the fire in your belly, right? Is there anything that you do in the morning that's just a ritual, a habit, a system, a routine that literally just primes your mindset to have that fire and play offense in business?
Heck yeah. First I have to hail to the coffee.
Yep.
I just tell you, I rejoice every time there's another positive study on coffee. I'm a huge coffee drinker. I drink it black. So I was one of 4 kids. My parents were big coffee connoisseurs, and they drink it black also. So it's not even a health thing. I learned how to drink really quality, good coffee black. So I start the day with a black cup of coffee, and then I go on a 4-mile walk. And it doesn't matter what time it is in the morning, what commitments I have, because I get up very early on some mornings, not every morning, depending upon, what my TV call time is. That is my time that I get to process and think about everything that's on my plate, what I'm going to be prioritizing. And one thing I should say is what's very helpful for me, before I go to bed every single night, I email myself. The subject says to do. And so I wake up to it in the morning. And so it's fresh in my head while I'm sipping my coffee. I try not to look at any other emails at that point, because I want to do my walk while I prioritize and strategize what the day is like. Because you know what happens when you start to look through your emails, the onslaught from the day before, you go down a rabbit hole, and it could be an hour and a half before you're able to shut the computer and then start your exercise. So I look at my to-do that I had made the night before, which also helps me to sleep, because it's sort of out of my head, into my computer. And I know I'm going to have it organized and structured for me in the morning, so I don't need to angst about it. Then I wake up the next morning, take a deep breath in, have my coffee. I do some stretches. I'm really big with my stretches and my crunches and my push-ups. And then I do my walk. And during my walk, it helps to ease the anxiety of how many things are on my plate. And it organizes how I'm going to rock through the rest of the day. And I will tell you that it has really worked for me in such a huge and meaningful way. And I look forward to it. And even if I wake up in the morning and I'm having a bit of a panic attack because I have 1,000 things that I need to accomplish before I hit the pillow that night, it tames and dampens all of my panicking, that walk. All of my panicking, all of my, and if I'm lucky enough to have a nice day and do it outside and breathe in the fresh air, bonus. Huge bonus. But that's my energizer. Then I come back, I have my breakfast, I look through my emails, if I have look through my notes for the show, or, figure out what I'm posting, what I'm cooking, what I'm creating, and it's all good. But the day is already started in the right direction.
Yeah, that's good. I love the whole little email thing, emailing yourself at night. I'm going to try that out. So thank you for sharing that. So much good stuff in that. I want to throw a curveball question at you, a little deep question. So if you had 5 years to live, what would you stop doing?
My roots. I would stop dyeing my roots, because it takes so friggin' long to sit there in that chair. And it's basically a time suck, right? So I would gain like a handful of hours back every couple of months. Those are like a precious time commitment.
Okay. Fair enough. Well, your hair looks great.
It does.
I'm trying to think of anything else. I mean, I love my life, and I'm older than you guys, so I have found my groove. I don't know that I would change anything.
Yeah.
I certainly I wouldn't work less. And I spend basically, like, I juggle family and work. And I love that balance. I always say, like, I make mob meals. I cook for mobs. I host like tons of parties and gatherings, holidays and get-togethers. I wouldn't give any of that up.
Yeah.
I love it all. I feel incredibly blessed to be able to have a hard time thinking of something that I would stop. We travel a lot. Yeah.
Yeah. Fair enough. Fair enough. Like, I love it. So we're coming to the end of this discussion, Joy, and this has been great. So before I ask the last question, I just want to just take a moment to just commend you just for all the accomplishments that you've made, all the things you're going to do going forward. I mean, you've literally bridged that gap through the nutrition world, the fitness world, of really impacting and changing information. And again, just thank you for your time. Thank you. I really, really just like I look at time as just like, we're never going to get this back. So I appreciate you spending this hour with us, delivering this value and all this stuff to, our audience. So thank you.
Yeah. And I thank you too, Joy, just like for your courage and your boldness too. Like those times where you're submitting those proposals and you got rejected and a lot of no's, it just hit that quit button and said, I'm done with this and the hell with this. But you kept fighting, kept knocking on doors, kept seeking, and ended up being in mass media now where you're reaching millions of people and impacting their lives. So, thank you.
Amen.
You guys are so great. Listen, good things for good people. And I really do believe that. And, if something's not meant to be, it's not meant to be. It just means that there's something bigger ahead for sure. Listen, I'm many roads ahead of you guys in age. And, I'm telling you from experience, everyone listening, like, the good things will happen. They're going to happen. And for a lot of people listening, they already are happening. Mm-hmm. But if they're not, just believe and smile and enjoy every step of the way, because it's a process.
Yeah. Whew, mic drop. So my last question is, what does it mean to live a dynamic lifestyle to Joy Bauer?
To live a dynamic lifestyle, to balance both your personal and your professional. So the one thing I will tell people is, we're never going to get these years back. Mm-hmm. And so with the fire in your belly to succeed in your career, do not ever do it at the expense of your personal life as well. We all need that. So, pick your movies to binge watch, read as much as you can, all of the great books, get a lot of dogs, make babies, have lots of romances, unless you're with your significant other. In that case, have lots of wonderful moments with that one love and just create lots and lots of incredible memories.
Yeah. That's awesome. Really, really cool, Joy. So guys, go follow Joy. We'll have everything linked up in the show notes, her book, everything like that. But, Joy, just again, thank you so much for just being real, authentic, and just everything you delivered today. A lot of value in this. So thank you so much.
Yeah. Thank you, Joy.
Oh, and right back to you guys. What a joyful hour. I really enjoyed this. And thank you again for inviting me on the show. You guys rock.
You're very welcome. All right, guys, until the next episode.
All right, I hope you got at least one nugget from Joy Bauer. She is awesome. The next step, now that you guys have all this wisdom and good tips from Joy, I want you to watch this video right here. 6 new ways you guys can build a 6-figure online health and fitness coaching business. Let's go.